Alright, this is my tech video. It's not meant to be a standalone video, instead it accompanies my house tour, and then there'll be another video that I haven't done yet, which is my outdoor tour. But a lot of people wanted to know like what's in the server racks, and I thought I'd show them. So this is just like an addendum to the house tour video. If you want to see that, then click on the screen somewhere. For right now, we're doing tech. Alright, into the server room. So, we've got a rack here filled with stuff, and we have two printers. I'll explain what the scoop is with that. This rack here, just an inexpensive super micro thing. I kind of built my own router, and it ran pfSense. It's not hard to build your own router. It was just sort of you stick a motherboard in here, add some RAM, etc. It actually ran off a compact flash card at first. It came with two LAN ports, and then I installed a card here for a third one. And with that, I had a dual WAN router. I have two internet lines coming into my house. The reason is that I work at home and I need to be reliable. Back in my other house, I had Time Warner and AT&T, both of them. And it worked really well. Like if Time Warner ever had an issue, it tended to be that AT&T didn't have one at the same time. Now I have two Time Warner lines and it doesn't work as well. It tends to be that when there's an issue, it impacts both cable modems at the same time. So I get a little bit of a speed boost. On a good day, these things do, I almost tripped. On a good day, my line as a cable modem does 100 down and 10 up, and I have two of those. Most of the time, I don't really get 200 down. If I were to hypothetically torrent something, then I actually get 200 down. It uses this modem, and then the other one, which is in the guest house. But most of the time, whatever. It seems like it's the site I'm downloading from that is the bottleneck, and not my cable modem. I could talk about that forever, but I'm trying to keep this thing rolling. I don't use this as my router anymore. That's why I bought it. That's why I put it together, and I did use it as my router for a long time. But when I came here, for whatever reason, it just, like the cable modem is supposed to assign an IP address to this via DHCP, and it wouldn't. It just wouldn't get an address from it. And I banged my head against it for a long time and got really frustrated. And they say don't drive angry, right? Because you just be reckless and stupid and you make bad decisions. Don't shop angry is probably just as important, but that's what I did, and I bought this. I like to have commercial grade routers, and even this thing I think qualifies as that. The upside is, one, it tends to be that if you have two internet lines, that's more commercial grade than residential grade. The other thing is that if I'm getting DDoSed, it doesn't stop. When they would DDoS my residential grade routers from like Linksys or whatever, it would lock up and I wouldn't be able to deal with anything. I'd have to unplug it because the 50 megabit download that it was doing was causing it not to be responsive. These things, if you do get DDoSed, then you can just, solve whatever it is that gave them their IP, spoof a new MAC address, get a new IP address off the cable modem, and I can do all that from my chair upstairs and get back online as quickly as possible. Whereas, like I said, if it's a residential grade thing, it doesn't do that. The downside of this is that it's hard to configure. It's for professionals, and I'm not really a network professional. So I find myself Googling command line router stuff. Maybe you maintain your own router at home, and it's just all through like a web interface. This has a web interface, but it only does like 10% of what the router can do. And if you want to find yourself like setting up UPnP or something like that, then you find yourself Googling exactly how to configure it from the command line. I bought it thinking that it'd be a neat learning experience for me, but I guess I have learned, but it's still a big pain in the butt. This is for the console, so you can like log into it even when the network's down. And then these two are like the WAN and LAN lines. I think this one's actually these two are the WAN and this third one is the LAN line. But this guy, I haven't talked about this yet. It's kind of cool. So right from my rack, I have a keyboard and mouse. I'm trying to back up so you can see it a little better. And I think it'll be like on my... I thought it would turn on. Do I need to press the button? So, wow, how embarrassing. I don't know why it's not on. Oh wait, I just turned it on and off. Here we go, no signal. What is your problem? So this is my keyboard video mouse. I'm surprised it's not turning on. I don't know what the scoop is, but I'll diagnose that later. And it lets me control my Linux machine that's up here, or my router that's right here, or whatever. I think even, I don't do it, but I think even this uninterruptible power supply can be like logged into directly. And if you're a Unix guy, they all tend to run some variant of that or something that's like it. And you can navigate and edit files and do whatever. So this guy, really disappointed it didn't turn on for you. But this is my rack mount console. I use it as a shelf almost as much as I use it as a console. I'll pull it out, and it's not uncommon for me to like drop a laptop here and then just like connect to a printer or something like that for scanning. I can print over the network, of course, but I tend to scan by plugging in. Maybe there's a better way. This is my keyboard video mouse switch, perhaps the culprit on what's going wrong. And the idea is that I can just, switch here between my router and my Linux machine and my UPS and whatever. I don't tend to use it a lot. I just leave it hooked up to the one. This is the UPS. It doesn't get me very far, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, but that handles all the quick brownouts or blackouts or whatever. The power here has never gone off for more than like even a few seconds. But it has gone off for a few seconds before, and I'm grateful that I have some sort of power supply so that it can keep everything running. Oh, my switch. So I bought this Edge switch to match my EdgeRouter, thinking that there would be some kind of management advantage, that you learn to use one and you can use the other, and they can talk to each other in a nice way and crap like that. I guess it's technically true, but in reality, I don't tend to manage it very much. I use it almost like an unmanaged switch, which is probably what all of you have. The one thing I do like about it a lot is it has power over Ethernet. You can see a couple of these things have like extra lights on, and no, that's not an indicator. Anyway, a couple of these guys, like with this yellow thing, they have power over Ethernet. If this top left one's lit, then it powers my wireless access points. So this is a wireless access point. It's kind of in the middle of the house. Most homes have just like a little standalone thing, and it is your router, and it is your wireless access point, and it is a switch, and it's all built into one. And that's perfect for most applications. But this house is so big that like one wireless access point wouldn't cover it. We have 4, including the guest house, and we'll add another one. I'm going to show you that when I get upstairs. But these don't do they don't assign IP addresses to your machines or anything like that. They're just like wireless hubs. It's just like plugging into here, plugging into your switch, and then the router assigns the IP address and handles DHCP and all the things that you want it to. So anyway, instead of an all-in-one unit, which you'd see in most homes, we break this out. I have 2 network attached storage boxes. These are pretty much just hard drives that you drop on the network. They have some other features, like they can handle downloads and schedule backups and things like that. But their big job is just to be a hard drive. Now, this was the first one I have, and it has 2 drives in it. I don't know how big it is, maybe 2 terabytes or something. And the problem is that if either one breaks, then you lose your data. I wasn't happy with that. I always knew it was like my videos and my history and stuff. It means a lot to me. So I got this. This has 5 drives in it, but it's RAID 5. So every time it writes data, it writes it to 2 drives. And if any one of those drives breaks, then I can just pull that one out, put a new one in, and it'll resync up and copy everything around, and it's great. This is much more resistant to a hard drive breaking than this is, which isn't resistant at all. And that's why I have 2 of these. This I just keep less important things on, or I don't even know what's on it. But this is my main one. 2 printers, and then we'll go upstairs. I'm trying to keep this thing paced nicely. This is our color printer. We really like it. We got like I guess you'd call it an enterprise class printer or workshop class print, like bigger than most like inkjet printers that you find in houses, because we homeschool Colin. And when you homeschool, it's not that uncommon to have like an 80-page thing that you print out and refer to. All the booklets and handouts, and it's a mini school here. So we needed a printer that that one would print cheaper and two would print faster. So we got this and it's been great. But in terms of cheap, you know, it is a color printer and it does cost a bunch to operate. So we got a monochrome one over here. And this also has another cool thing. So the scanner on this, which I use all the time, only does letter size documents, which is like the normal US paper size, 8.5 by 11 inches. And it does A4 if you're European, but it doesn't do legal sized, which are those extra long ones. And for a while, I was doing a lot of legal sized work. I found myself like, you know, all the Time Warner easements and stuff I had to get signed, all this real estate, like the whole real estate world in terms of permits and stuff like that, at least in my area, works on, I think it's 8.5 by 14 inch paper, the extra long ones. You've probably seen them. And I found that I couldn't scan things and I just couldn't work efficiently. And at the same time, my wife wanted a printer that would print more cheaply. So we got this guy. This is a monochrome printer, and it's brother again because we were so happy with the first one. But it has a legal-sized bed here as opposed to this guy, which has a letter-sized bed. I don't know if you can tell the difference visually, but this thing's bigger, and it can scan bigger documents, and that handles that problem. So it did two things for us. One, if we want to print 100 pages and it doesn't have to be color, this will do it cheaply. And two, it is a bigger bed for scanning in legal size paper. And I don't know if you guys, probably a lot of people don't work from home or don't own their own businesses yet. I feel like most of my viewers are like 17 to 21 and sort of just getting cooking. But it seems like every week I have a new contract to sign or something to update or just something that needs to be signed and sent back with a signature on it. So having a scanner in the house is super useful to me. So moving along, that's the server room. It has two printers. It has a Linux machine, which I only kind of use. It's nice to have around, but I don't use it a lot. And then my routers and switches and stuff like that. Because the house is big, you tend to break it out into separate components like a business would instead of having an all-in-one unit. That's the server room. That's the wireless access point. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about that when we go upstairs. So let's go upstairs. G Fuel, baby. I'm so grateful for my relationship with G Fuel. You want to be productive? This is the shit that you got to drink. G Fuel puts hair on your face, baby. This is my upstairs rack. So here's the scoop. I have 3 monitors. They're 1440p, kind of. The middle one is an ultra-wide 1440p, and I like it a lot. I used to have 1080p on the sides and 1440p in the middle, but when the resolution gets tighter like that, I would just enlarge all the text so I could see it well. You could see it even better because an enlarged high resolution is a sharper picture. But when I drug it to the side monitor, then it would be like cartoony, stupid large, and I'd have to shrink it again. And you need the resolution to match across if you have a multi-monitor system. You can't have 1080p on one and 1440 on the other. But this ultra-wide has the same number of vertical dots as a 1440p does. So if I were to drag things around, I'll do it for you, from monitor to monitor, then it just stays the same size and works perfectly. So that's that. I'm going to come back to this picture. It's my access point, like my configuration screen. But to the rack. So this thing here handles my audio. I probably have more audio than I really need. I almost definitely have more audio than I really need, but I like it. This thing here is the audio from the people I'm talking to. I'm trying to think, I don't even know if I know all my mics. This is the mic I use most often. It's my Shure SM7B. This is the mic I used to use most often. It's my RE20. This one's empty. This is the mic that Jackie tends to use. I have it's like a broadcast quality mic here. I sometimes use it when I live stream. It's nice because what happens with people, there's a mic technique. There's a technique to using a mic. And if you, oops, there's a technique to using a mic. You have to keep your mouth in the right spot. You know, whatever distance that is that's right for the mic, you keep it there. What happens with my wife is she'll start in the right spot because I'll set her up. And then before long, she's talking to me and not looking at the mic. And it's like, no, baby, you're talking to the mic. If you put this on someone's head, whether it be like my wife or my daughter or my son or whatever, like if it's someone who's not used to using a mic, then they can't mess this up. They can turn their head, they can look at me, they can whatever, and it works perfectly. So that's why I like having that. And the same goes true for me. Maybe there's something I intend to do in a live stream and I want to be able to move around instead of being stuck to where the mic is, then sometimes I use that. But most of the time, not. And this guy lets me like control my mic. You know, if I want to turn a mic on, I can just slide this up, slide it down, do whatever. It's a piece of cake. These go up when the speakers are on, down when the speakers are off. You get used to it. This is a keyboard, video, mouse switch. It was a waste of money. The idea was that I was going to have more computers in here. I was going to have a Mac Mini go through it. I was careful to buy one that could handle my ultra-wide monitor. Didn't work out. I don't use it at all. Someday I might reclaim this rack space, but that's not how it ended up going down. This thing's my computer. It hardly looks like a computer being rack mounted. It's like a home theater case that I put it in, but it's a little long in the tooth now. I think it's a 3930K overclocked to 4 gigahertz and maybe 4.2, something like that. It has 32 gigs of RAM, has a bunch of hard drives in it. Everything's SSD at this point, which makes a huge difference. The graphics card is the third one that's been in here. I started with an AMD card. That didn't work out for me. I just was never happy with it. It was really hot and it was really loud. And I'm sure AMD makes great stuff, but my experience with them was negative. Also, at the time, the Adobe suite didn't support AMD cards, but they did support Nvidia. Now they support both, so my eyes are open to them again. But at the time, it had to be Nvidia. So I got a 680 Ti, and that thing was great. It worked out fantastic, and I used that and game with it for a while. And then I got a Titan. It's the old school Titan, the original one, and that's what's in there right now. Works well. I don't feel like I need a new GPU, but because of all the video stuff I do, I mean, there's a lot of people who consider me not uploading videos anymore. Like, Woody doesn't make videos anymore. But the truth is, I make like, 5 to 6 or 7 hours of video a week, which is probably more than your favorite YouTuber. I produce a lot of content, and it would be nice if I had a faster rendering machine. This is an inexpensive switch. It doesn't have power over Ethernet or anything like that, but it is gigabit, and it gets the job done. You can see it. What am I using? 4 ports in here. I don't really see a world where I use more than like 6 or 7 ports up here. So I just bought a little. It looks like it's a 16 port switch, gigabit, etc. And that's my upstairs server rack. This is the Mac Mini. I really like my MacBook Air. I think it's fantastic. I had no idea that batteries could last for 10 hours. And people are gonna not like hearing this, but in my experience, even though I'm careful about not to install and uninstall every junk piece of software that catches my eye, Windows slows down over time. It just does. And my 3-year-old MacBook Air, it might be 2.5 years old. 2.5-year-old MacBook Air is as fast as the day I got it, and I'm so happy with it. And the mic on it is like the best, built-in notebook mic that I've ever heard, and that makes a big difference to me because I like my audio quality to be sharp. So I got this Mac Mini thinking that I would use it a ton. A lot of what I do, aside from video rendering, doesn't take much CPU time. I spent a lot of time in a Linux prompt working on WoodyCraft, the greatest Minecraft server in the world, and in the multiverse, and stuff that just doesn't take a ton of CPU. Browsing, Linux prompt, like SSH sessions, stuff like that. And I was like, I might just live on my Mac Mini, Skype, and for whatever reason, I just never got into it. It didn't work out for me. So what happens now is my son rocks the Mac Mini, because he used to use this gaming notebook, It's a Samsung something or other, and the W key wore out. It won't stay on anymore. You can put it on and press it and it clicks. This is on the notebook, but it won't stay in place. It keeps flopping off. Heck, I'll show it to you. See, his W key, it won't stay on. And if you listen carefully, right? It's like it kind of worked. I lost the sponge thing for a second, but well, now it's worse than ever because I lost that spongy thing. But it pops right off even though it clicks in place. I did a shoddy demo there, but the W key broke. So we set him up on this Mac and now he's in great shape. So, you know, we're really happy with the Apple stuff that we have in our house. It seems to keep working real reliably. The last thing I wanted to show you was this. These are the wireless access points in my house. You can see each one of these squares is an access point. Trying to do this not so shaky. And here's one in the southern sunroom, the server room, which you saw. This is my office where we are right now. And this says school or guest house, call it what you will. You can see like a coverage map. If I can click properly, boom. That's the coverage that we have. So the house is fairly well covered. A little weak in here in this Game of Thrones room, but it seems to work really well. Maybe because there's very little between here and here. But in the front of the house, like where the dining room is, sometimes we find that the signal might be too weak. So what I want to do is put a fourth one. I bought it already, I just haven't installed it, right about here. And it's an extra long distance one. So I think that it's going to cover like a lot of the front yard as well as the front of the house. And it's like an indoor-outdoor one that we'll put under the front porch. And the front of the house will be well covered for, I don't know, maybe you want to stream music over the LAN when you mow the yard, or who knows what the hell we'll use it for. But mostly the dining room will have great coverage, and then this will just be bonus. So this is what, like when you do enterprise stuff is like. You know, you put an access point, you see how far it covers, and you place them, and that's the Wi-Fi coverage of my house. This is from Google Maps. I fixed this roof. This is like a before shot of the stable. But anyway, that is the tech tour for my house. There were a lot of people who were asking for it, and now you've done it. This holds up this desk. I made this desk in a hurry. It's not a big deal. And that's like the storage for it. I feel really lucky that I can put Colin there and me there, and I get to work and Colin gets to play. I was talking to my father about it, and he's like, your job is hard. He was talking about Woodycraft more so than YouTube. He's like, you know, you've dedicated your whole life to it. It's all consuming. You've traded your life for Woodycraft. And well, I appreciate the sentiment, and I have been working hard. I worked till 7 a.m. last night. Well, 6 a.m., but I was up till 7. That's a really big night, right? Yeah, that's hard work. G Fuel, baby. But when work involves me sitting here and Colin sitting there, then sometimes it doesn't feel like work. I feel really lucky that I get to work from home and like have a family near me and stuff like that. So this is my setup. That's the tech side of the house. And then the last video I'll make that talks about the home is the outside. So in that I'll include the stable, the guest house, the property, and some of the toys, and then you'll know where I live. I'm doxing myself piece by piece. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're still here, give it a like. I like it when you like it.